How many here wish that the U.S. had a more defined public transportation system rather than relying on cars to transport? Everyone here today in this room either rode a car, a motorcycle, a bus, whatever it is, you had to take some form of transportation to get here, unless you were walking. But most ride vehicles. In my first 2 years of high school, I relied heavily on public transportation. I was living in DuPont, but I was going to a high school in Tacoma. I relied on 3 buses to get me there. And it was very difficult for my family because they weren't able to drive me most of the time, but they wanted me to get the education I deserved. And on September 1st of 2022, Washington State government made a program for all 18 and under to ride free on public transportation in the state of Washington. All youth were also able to obtain a free Orca card. This Orca card allows all youth to ride any single transit opportunity and agency for free across Washington State. And without the Washington State Free Transit Program, I wouldn't have been able to get to school. According to the Washington State Department of Travel, nearly 15 million youth rode Washington programs for free since their program has started. And all the youth that were given the ability to ride from a different transportation made sure that there were less cars on that road. This is such a great law made by the Washington State government. I've ridden all types of transit options as a youth here in Washington. It made my life easy as a way to get to school, a way to get home, a way to go to Seattle for a fun weekend, or to go visit my family in Portland. Along with the Washington Free Youth Transit Program, Amtrak has eliminated their youth fares for trains on the Cascade Line. These trains run from Vancouver to Bellingham, up and down. This is also an amazing service that I believe should be everywhere. Imagine if all our trains that travel around our stunning country were free, and we didn't have to rely on these cars or planes emitting. We could just hop on a train for free. In America, with all these youth riding free transit, this creates opportunities for these transit options to become more popular. If more youth are able to use the Amtrak train for free, how many parents do you think are going to jump on that deal? But a really good deal would be saving money while saving the environment. Families can save hundreds of dollars each year while using free youth transit program in Washington State. With all that money saved, it can go to other important family spending like food and bills. According to the American Public Transport Authority, $1 invested in the public transport business generates $5 in return. So while we are going and investing in these free transit opportunities, it's coming back into our own economy. Transit is the business of people. If more people are going to use this, then it's going to generate more people going to be using it. It's in the power of the people to do so. The KCTA claims that public transportation across the United States saves 4.2 billion pounds of CO2. With more youth and more people using public transit, it leads to fewer single riders and fewer congestion. If more people are using our transit services, it will lead to fewer CO2 emitters, as more people are using these options that hold way more people than a car or a truck. But you're probably asking, what about the people who don't have kids? And that is a great question. I believe that if we start with all these opportunities free for youth, then it will continue to go into everyone else. If my family is riding free, then I will continue to go with my child using this free transit opportunity. If all my kids could ride those buses for free, more adults are going to be using that, and it's going to roll and roll and roll until we are farther along the line. I believe this, if we make this service accessible to youth, it will continue to grow and make people everywhere want to use it. Many people in our country are still affected by transportation businesses to their jobs, classes, and internships. In America, it's hard to get along if you don't have a car, and that is a major problem. No matter who you are, the way you travel America and America travels is how you're going to get along. If you don't have a car, you're basically screwed. If Americans are traveling less than single commuters, then America Transit will shift to public transportation. I believe if we put more money and more resources to this, then people are going to start using this more. I've noticed this heavily during Seattle's last playoff run for the Mariners. More people were using the light rail than using cars because it was so accessible. You have now arrived to the last stop on my speech, the conclusion. As we conclude, let's see what we talked about. We talked about the free youth transit program in Washington and how it affected me personally and how it can affect everybody in our nation. Free youth transit nationwide isn't just possible, it's a need. And our state is proving that it works, and other states must follow. We saw Washington and my story. We saw the economic benefits and why it should and does affect everyone. Transportation should never determine anyone's future, especially not the youth of America. So please, go out and use any form of public transportation at least once a month. If you have kids or know a child, introduce them to the free transit youth program and start making our transportation future more connected. Thank you.